2, 1, 0.
Hi everyone, this is Amber with Resell Genius, and I have to say, I am so concerned about Poshmark. Now let me explain. I'm concerned about the Poshmark shows. Now these have been going on since about December of 2022, so give or take 6 months. The thing that really worried me, and might be the downfall to Poshmark as a whole, if they don't get their hands on this, is people selling counterfeit items on their Posh Shows. And I've seen it particularly with people who are doing mystery bags. Now, I'm not going to name any names, of course, but I was in a Posh Show last weekend, and there was somebody who was doing about every, 20 minutes or so, they were doing a mystery bag, and they had them all behind her, and they were numbered. And so people would bid, and there was about 100 people in the showroom, and they were selling, okay, so the ones that I saw sell were around $675 all the way up to $1,000. Once the winner won, she or he would say what number they wanted, and she would grab it from the shelf, and then she would open it and explain each item. There was usually around 3 items in each thing. One was a fake keychain, which it's like, she called it a non-Louis Vuitton keychain, but I mean, that's just a fake Louis Vuitton keychain, right? The other 2 items were usually like a pair of sunglasses or a wallet, and then a bag, a luxury bag. People were getting Louis Vuitton, Chanel, and Gucci purses for $675 to $1,000. And some of them were new, and some of them were used. Here's the issue. I have been selling luxury goods and non-luxury goods, and buying luxury goods and non-luxury goods, but particularly luxury, let's focus on here, for ages. I mean, I started selling 20 years ago, and I've been shopping since I was old enough to hold a credit card. Anyone who has been to Louis Vuitton or Chanel in particular knows that their bags start at a certain price, and that price has gone up over the years. Most of the bags at Louis Vuitton are over $2,000, let's just face it. So if you're selling new of tags for $675, how does that make you money? Well, I know how it makes you money, and that is because they're fake. Of course, I did the reporting feature on Poshmark, and I even said to the group, I pointed out a few things, like some things I'll share with you today, to basically tell them how to look for like a fake or a real purse. Asking questions like, oh, do you have a receipt for that? Or can you show us the serial number? And all of those questions got ignored. And so after a while I was like, okay, well, this is definitely sus, because why wouldn't she answer those simple questions? And everybody's seeing on the screen everybody's comments, and so she's just totally ignoring mine. And so then I was like, oh, this is not good. So then when I saw like the first bag, it was a Louis Vuitton bag that doesn't exist. I got my first Louis Vuitton purse, I think it was probably like 99. So yeah, that's 24 years. That would be considered a vintage bag now, I guess. Anyways, let me show it to you because I still have it. And just realize that this is like 24 years old. But here's my little Speedy. And it is in very bad shape because it's, I've used it a lot. So you can see the handles are very oxidized. And you know what I love about Louis Vuitton is that I feel like when a bag is used like this, it just gets more character. So I am perfectly fine with it looking like this. There's certain things to look out for. So one of the things I noticed is that the canvas just didn't look right. Now, I don't know if you can really see this, but if you look at the canvas, it's kind of shiny, but a little bit matte at the same time. So I don't know if you can kind of see that. The fake ones, they just look different. Keep in mind the coated canvas, as well as the pattern. So you'll notice with most of the Louis Vuitton bags, it is one piece of fabric all the way down here. So because of that, these ones are facing upright and these ones are upside down. Now, the other thing is you'll notice that none of the LVs, so when I say LV, I'm talking about this, not the, you know, the fleur-de-lis or any of the other patterns, but just the LV. None of them are cut off. So you'll see, like, they'll cut off these little fleur-de-lis and little monogram things, but the actual LV, you'll never see one cut off. So just look, you know, they're all full. Nothing is cut in half. If they're going to cut something in half, they're going to cut off one of these or one of these. So you'll see, like, all of the LVs are not cut off, and that is like the number one. So the first bag that she sold, on the side, all of the LVs were over here and they were all cut off, just like the whole thing. And I was like, wow, okay, so that is so easy to know that it's fake. Other people didn't notice. I did report her to Poshmark. I think it's important for all of us to really help one another, buyers and sellers, because can you imagine spending $1,000 on a fake purse? I mean, let's be honest, if anybody has been to New York or lived in New York, all you have to do is go to and you'll see all of them on the street, literally on the street. That seller, oh my God, that's just like, that's so wrong, just so wrong on so many levels. And if this continues, like, this could actually ruin Poshmark. If Poshmark continues to allow counterfeit goods being sold, period, on the Posh Shows, it's like out of control. Now, let me share another thing. Selling counterfeit items obviously is against Poshmark's policy, but did you know it is illegal? I'm sure you did, hopefully. But did you know that people are actually getting put in jail for selling counterfeit bags? I'm not kidding. Just type into your browser, just type in woman arrested for selling counterfeit. Just type that in, and you will see pages upon pages upon pages of people who literally have gotten arrested recently even. I just Googled it, okay? And first one that pops up. Chicago woman accused of selling fake designer goods. Here's another one. Cook County woman charged with selling counterfeit Louis Vuitton, Chanel, and Gucci items. This was just 8 days ago. These people are doing this and they're making a lot of money and then they're getting arrested. How are they getting arrested? Well, all it takes is one complaint, one person to file a police report, for example. Surprisingly, one of these ladies, the reason they got caught is because one of the designer brands hired a private investigator. So these brands are hiring private investigators to find out who's selling their fake goods. I also have heard on eBay that people will actually buy items they think are counterfeit, and then if they are, they'll arrest you. So it's like some undercover agent or whatnot. So this is just not something you want to mess with as a buyer or a seller. And I hope Poshmark will actually do some damage control and maybe make the visibility of the Posh Shows, or basically they just need to look at the Posh Shows. I mean, it was so easy for me. I just clicked on the first luxury one and it was all counterfeit. I mean, it's so prevalent in the Posh Shows right now. I guess people think that because it's live, like, they don't have to follow the rules or something, or they won't get caught. Live shows and live streaming is here to stay. You should really get comfortable with it. People are getting rolled into Posh Shows every week. And, you know, Poshmark has said they want to do quality over quantity. I guess it's not working on the counterfeit angle. We shall see. And that's why I think it's a real big issue that Poshmark needs to get in front of. Over the last few months, I have been scavenging for faux items. And I have been comparing them to help you determine if something is counterfeit when you're buying it on Poshmark, or any place for that matter. So I already shared the LV logo not getting cut off. Let me share a few other things, okay? Here is passport holder. Same thing. Do you see how it's one whole piece of fabric? And this is straight up, and then this is upside down, and none of the LVs are cut off anywhere, okay? This one is like a special one. Sorry, it's dirty, but I also got my initials on it, but it's like the red. But yeah, this is definitely authentic. I bought it in Paris. I was able to get my hands on this. This looks really cute, doesn't it? Well, guess what? It's faux. This one is my lovely one, and it's real. So, I know these are not the same pattern. However, you can do some due diligence. Now, if if you look at things like the zipper pull, this is a real zipper pull. Okay, can you see that? See how big it is? And just note the shape, and it's heavy. It's not fake, it's not plastic. It's like a solid thing, and you can see there's some writing right in the middle here. I don't know, hopefully you can see that. This is the fake one. Now, first of all, the hardware is like really yellow compared to the other one, and it's very cheap. It's not as heavy, it is metal though, and like the zipper pull, you can see that, it looks totally different, okay? The other thing is these little clips here, this is a way that I can really tell a lot when looking online at pictures and stuff, is because these just look like I don't know how to explain it, but they just look small and fragile and like they might break. And they're really, really yellow. So that's another thing to look out for. The other thing to look out for is the straps. Many times you can tell by the stitching. Come on, focus. There we go. So the stitching, see, they did a pretty good job on this, but if you see any irregularity, then you'll know. And then also the side. So if you can see this, let me get out of the way. There we go. See that red? That is a much different color than this. So disregard like the actual color, because sometimes when you get it, it is going to be a little bit lighter when it's not oxidized. But if you check this out, you can kind of see the difference if the camera will focus. But now look at the thickness and also look at the edging. So this is the fake one, this is the real one. See the difference in the color? You can see the difference in the thickness and the width. Okay, so that's another thing you can look at. Here's another faux. I've seen a lot of these being sold as vintage because I think this is a style from like a long time ago, although they are doing some now as well. If you look at this, can you tell what's the first sign of this being counterfeit? Can you see? Right here. This LV is cut off. And it's not one single piece of fabric. There is a little piece of fabric on the bottom, which is stitched to the other side. It does have the backwards upside down on the back, but the purpose is because they use one sheet of fabric, and this is not one sheet of fabric. You can see these poor little LVs are getting cut off everywhere. That's another one. So that is a really quick way to tell. Another way is, see this? What is up with this? Well, what it is there's, it's like they put cardboard or something in between here to give it its structure. Well, the real ones don't have that. If you look at my backpack again, look at this. You can fold it, you can roll it, and it's because there's no cardboard inside here. This is leather, and it is meant to be able to do this and be fine. So the faux ones, you can't do that with. Another thing I wanted to show you, this is a little crazy, but I just had to do it for you guys. So one of these bucket bags, reverse monogram. These ones both look very similar, but they're not. So rule of thumb, Louis Vuitton does not put this on their purses. So if it comes like that, you know, that's not right. They also don't put this blue sticky stuff, but you know, no good. If you open it up, this has cardboard in it. And you can see that it's just kind of like not really sewn that well. This one is, you know, it's a pretty good replica because the stitching is really straight and this is real leather, but you know, they're just little things. So those little, oops, those little messy bits right there, you know, that's not legit. Now here's the other one. Again, looks pretty good, but open it. There's no label, and look, what the heck is this? This is like some weird little leather pouch that is just not sewn correctly at all. And there you go, cardboard. Do we have any LVs chopped off? No. So they are doing that, right? Oh, here we go, look, different bottoms. And these are, you know, supposed to be the same purse. Well, these are both fake, okay? This one actually looks pretty darn good, but it's still fake. Here's the dust bags that they came in. Now this is another big red flag. That is a fake dust bag. Look at it really closely. Louis Vuitton doesn't have that stuff. And also, if you just feel the fabric, it's like kind of rough and thin, and the font and the color of this is just not, it's just not real. The bottom one is the real one. The top two are fake. All right. I'm seeing a lot of fake bags on Poshmark shows for Louis Vuitton in particular, also Chanel and Gucci, but you know, you can kind of tell. So if it's like a dark color with a small LV and not spelled out, that's fake, just to let you know. Now, I have another surprise for you. So you saw those two bags. Look at this one. This is the real one. Now, I did do this, and it's like, at first I was like, oh shoot, is this the fake one? No, this is just me. This is me with incorrect storage when I moved. So that's a bummer, but I can actually get this out with like a hair dryer. But if we compare, so the real bottom is this color. So this one is the closest. But now look at the feet. So this is the real, this is the fake. The real one has much larger feet. If you look at the stamping on this logo, it's slightly different. Now, if anything is not symmetrical, that's your first giveaway. If you look inside at the faux one, this is just not quite symmetrical. It's like not quite flat and placed correctly. I don't know if you can see that, but it's very, very slight. This is the real one. Do you see how it's just so much more clean? It's totally perfectly centered. And if you look at the hardware, even the lock, it's just so much heavier and more substantial. These are very similar, those little D-rings, but this one is a slight bit bigger. Now if you look at the handle, this is the real, this is the fake. Do you see the difference? This one is just kind of like shoddy and not really sewn correctly and is already starting to like get all messed up. This one you can just tell, even though I messed up this is like so clean and perfect that you can kind of tell on that. If you look at this little thing to hold the lock, the fake one is longer than the real one. If you look at, actually I did notice something else. If you look at this is just lightly engraved. You see that LV right there? Just lightly engraved, but still very perfect. This is the faux one, and it's way deeper and it just doesn't look as refined. There's the fake, and there's the real. Gosh, that one's really scratched, isn't it? Here, I'll do this side instead. That's the real. Now, of course, serial numbers. That is also an issue. And I don't think, oh, there we go. Here's the real one underneath this flap. Can you see? You can kind of see it there. The faux one doesn't even come up. And of course there's no serial number. Louis Vuitton does not put those silica beads inside their bags. And if you look at the inside, it's just not, you know, it's just, you can just tell it's just not very good. And you can see they tried to add a serial number here on the inside, but they forgot to actually stamp it. And the serial number for this handbag is not on the inside. So those are just some little things that you can do to try to avoid buying something faux. One more. This is a really good example of something bad. This one was like 20 bucks. You can see here. Do you see the edging? Look, they didn't even paint it on straight. It does have feet. They're not the correct feet. And the biggest sign, look at that LV. Totally cut off and sewn through. They would not do that. Cut off, cut off, cut off. It's just, yeah, a mess. And look, that stuff is like hanging down. This part right here is kind of like missing a bit. You can see these are like the cheap zipper pulls. They're, you know, very yellow and very light. This is just way too red compared to the real one. And just to remind you, the real strap versus the faux strap. See the difference? And then inside, it's got a tag here, but no serial number. And you can even see, like, you can pull this out. See? Like, they just glued this on. So, faux. So don't get stuck buying or selling any counterfeit items. It degrades the platform. It puts everybody's trust in Poshmark by the wayside, and it's just no good. It hurts legitimate sellers like me, because if somebody can buy something for $600 as opposed to $2,000, well, of course they're going to buy the $600, but their purse is going to fall apart. It's not going to be real, and yeah, it's just really unfortunate. Now, there are even people selling used Louis Vuitton purses as real. Just keep that in mind. Just because something is vintage doesn't mean that it's real. So it could be weathered, they could say that they restored it, or they changed the strap, or whatever they want to, but it's still fake. Make sure you ask questions, inspect the item carefully, really blow up, you know, the photos. If they're supposed to have a listing that is associated to their item that they're selling on the Posh Show. If you go to their closet and you look at the listing and it's just like a blank picture and says for Posh Show, forget that. That's no good, because if you have a question or a concern or it's not as described, Poshmark is going to compare that listing photo to the item you got. If there's no listing photos, then what are you going to say? Oh, she sent me something that I didn't buy. Well, what did you buy if there's no photo? I really think that this could be a big issue. And I really hope that Poshmark will take care of it, because otherwise this could really put them in jeopardy, and it could affect the buyers, and we want happy buyers, don't we? All right, well, thanks for listening today. Sorry about my rant, and I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful day, week, month, year ahead, and you have tons of sales. And check out resellgenius.com. Thank you. Bye.